Zenvstyle.com. 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 Zenvstyle.com.
All right, welcome viewers to another edition of the Black Agenda Podcast Live. I'm your co-host, Devin, and as always, I have my co-host here with me, Adrian Devin. And today we'll be talking about banking in the Black community, and we have another great guest, a great interviewee here. And so his name is Kevin Cohee. He's the owner, chairman, and CEO of OneUnited Bank, and we are ecstatic to have him on the show. And just to give you a little bit of background, Mr. Cohee is the owner, and like I said, the owner and chairman of OneUnited Bank, which is the largest Black-owned bank and the first Black-owned bank in the United States. And so OneUnited Bank was established by unifying several community banks across the country. And by unifying these banks, OneUnited Bank has built the foundation to solve the longstanding problem of access to capital in inner city communities. And just to top it off, OneUnited Bank has also been designated by the United States Department of Treasury as a community development financial institution. And the bank has received the Bank Enterprise Award, the highest award offered by the United States government for community development for 10 years. And so obviously this is a great, institution, bank, but also a great interview. So Mr. Cohee, we appreciate you coming on the show and giving us your time.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. So our first question Just to, just kind of general. So for a lot of African Americans, there seems to kind of be this mistrust of banks. A lot of people would rather, hold on to cash and keep it in a mattress and other places. And so, our first question was if you could just kind of talk, historically about what has the relationship been between the African American community and the traditional brick and mortar banks that we're used to, and then maybe speak to why so many of our people are either underbanked, and what just kind of explain that relationship there.
Well, it's not unlike Black Americans' relationship with America in general. As you well know, since we got here in 1619, we've been used and abused in virtually every way possible by all institutions, from the government to virtually every type of corporation, including financial institutions. So it shouldn't be a mystery to anyone that this institution has acted inappropriately towards Black people, and it's one of the institutions that is most responsible for the creation of what we call the racial wealth gap. And that's this whole business of white American families having net worths 10 times that of Black American families. So it's no different than virtually every American institution, and that has played an important role in perpetuating racism in this country.
And you're absolutely right. When you're talking about, institutional racism, systemic racism, people like to think those are so abstract that, you can't, point your finger at them. But like you're saying, whether it's healthcare, whether it's education, whether it's housing, and unfortunately, banking is no outlier. Minority communities, especially Blacks, have always been put down. And that's really created maybe a severed relationship when it comes to banking. People probably feel like banking is all about corporate America and trying to put us down. So our question, to follow up to that, whenever you're trying to talk to people in the community, what's your message? How do you convince the community to understand the importance of banking and that a banker can really have a place in establishing generational wealth?
Well, by introducing them to OneUnited Bank and what OneUnited Bank stands for, it's the real deal. It's a Black-owned financial institution. It's not an institution led by Black people. It's an institution that's owned by Black people. And all of our actions and our products are 100% dedicated to improving the plight of Black Americans. So it's the manifestation. It's a manifestation of what people have come to call Black excellence in an institution. And so it's our realness that ultimately convinces people that of who we are and the importance of our role in society. I will admit, even in the world of Black banking, it's confusing because there are very few, like maybe 3 actually Black-owned banks. There's a lot of banks that are led by Black people, but as you know, Black people ran the plantations. So our realness and our reality shines through. People understand what we do. Both our products and services, but also how we advocate for Black America. We spend huge amounts of time trying to introduce mass change in society. So if you spend any time hear anything about OneUnited Bank, it's always something that's okay. This is what we're going to do to increase the net worth of Black Americans on a nationwide basis. And so it's something like that. Or okay, this is the role that that Black Americans allies can play in being anti-racist. Let's start a campaign to be anti-racist. Let's talk to corporations about their behavior and use our skill and understanding of financial matters to help them understand what they're not doing. And so it's really in the DNA of the company. You spend any time around it, you meet anybody who's a part of it, it's 100% the real deal, you know.
No, that's what we need, though. That's the type of advocacy we need from the institutions that, like you say, have long been the sources of a lot of frustration and a lot of, abuse with selling things that people don't need at a bank and higher interest rates. And so people didn't forget those things. And it's interesting hearing you say that too, because we heard that from Ben Slayton at Legacy Home Loans about the fact that you have an advocate at every step of the home loan process. And here you are saying the same thing at OneUnited. It's about the people who work for you and work there at the bank are not there to just try to make, money off of you and try to squeeze as much as they can. They're there to ensure that you have, good habits when it comes to money. You can start the wealth building process. And so that's a big difference between, some of the other, corporate owned banks that we all think of when we think of the traditional bank. And so we're going to take our first break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the current relationship between the community and some of these other companies, fintech companies that have come, have kind of exploded in the past few years. And so we're going to talk about that. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
All right, viewers, let's get back into it. Remember, we're continuing our conversation with Mr. Kevin Cohee, owner, chairman, and CEO of OneUnited Bank. Kevin, to continue our conversation here, we really wanted to talk more about developing and improving your relationship with a bank. One of the things that we realize that there's obviously so many financial institutions that a person can choose from the big banks to more localized community banks and even credit unions. Each financial institution seems to talk about their advantages and benefits, and many individuals just choose whatever is banking is going to be closest to their home or maybe close to their work. So our question in this segment, first off, is just explain why it matters who you choose to bank with, and how do you go about advising someone on which bank to choose?
Well, first off, a bank is not like a wife. You can have more than one. So I would start there. And in one of those banks, if you're a Black America or an ally of Black Americans, one of those banks should literally be OneUnited Bank. You should have a relationship with a Black-owned financial institution, and OneUnited Bank is the one that has the scope and the ability to affect change on a national basis. And I'm not saying that just because of my affiliation with the bank. It's really true. It's the business that has the ability to affect Black Americans and white Americans' behavior on a national scale. Now, and that's important to all of us. That's central to your development, your financial development. In addition to when you become part of an institution like OneUnited Bank, it does things like teaches you how to build your network. So like, for instance, our One Transaction program, this thing we're doing, this campaign and this conference we're doing on Juneteenth Day, it literally takes the 6 transactions that you need to understand and execute in order to build your net worth and teaches you them for free. So in an environment where nobody's trying to sell you anything, here again, these concepts, you think about something like insurance. Most people, when they learn about insurance, is from somebody trying to sell them some insurance. And so And so therefore it's difficult to understand most times because they don't really know what they're talking about. And they're trying to get over on you. However, insurance is critically important. I mean, any one of us can walk out the door and have a horrific accident or get sick, catch COVID. Who's going to pay for all of that? And so this, if you're part of an institution that's designed to create positive change, it allows you to participate with the institution in a way that you wouldn't. I mean, you're not going. What are you going to do with Wells Fargo or Bank of America? I mean, it's really not going to move you forward as a person. And then there's the basic thing of being with an institution that makes you want to be successful. I mean, what I would say to either one of you, okay, we've been talking for 10 minutes. Now you tell me, do you feel more comfortable with me or the CEO of Citibank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, or any of them? Like, who do you think you're going to have a better chance with? Now, just think for a second. Okay, now, who am I going to have a better chance of being successful with? To me, we got to have that conversation. Then, it doesn't matter what you do because that should be apparent. Okay, it's like this is not something that's rocket scientists. Okay. Mm-hmm. I am your family. You are me. I am you. We are the same thing. I can't separate from you if I want to separate from you. So who are you going to bank with? Mm-hmm. Okay. And so that's the point. So when something like this, and this goes to this whole business of what I call anti-racist behavior. And it's our agenda for the allies of Black Americans. Here, I know you guys follow the social protest movement, but what you saw in it is anti-racism protests. There was white people and Black people and brown people coming together to create change, people who were against racism. And see, that's a critical part against, we as Black Americans have many things we need to do. And that's like one transaction and talking about building our net worth, talking about financial literacy being a core value for Black people and how we manage our organization. But another part of that is managing the rest of the people and getting them to engage in anti-racist behavior. We say, well, are you ready to be an anti-racist? Because if you're just sitting there and you're not an anti-racist, if you aren't making a conscious effort and taking deliberate actions to eradicate racism, you are part of the problem. If you just want to sit there, and that's whether you're white or Black. Okay? I mean, are you anti-racist? Are you against racism? Are you making conscious effort? Are you making deliberate actions to create change? Or are you just sitting there while we're getting used, abused, kneed to death, killed by vigilantes? I mean, no jobs. We got corporations all over the country that don't invest a single dollar in anything Black, nothing. See, and so that's what OneUnited Bank is all about. It's about promoting programs. It's taking advantage of technology, taking advantage of the fact that finally the dream of Martin and Malcolm, W.B. Du Bois, has finally come true. We're organized. That collective effort to organize us has finally came into being because of the internet. The internet has organized us. That organization is leading to the social change you see. Mm-hmm. You know the deal. I mean, I say this all the time. Some Black man getting killed in South Georgia by some white vigilantes, that ain't nothing new. We got to know that. That's been happening since we got here in 1619. Or some Black man getting killed in a urban center like Minneapolis, Minnesota by some rogue police. That's nothing new. But what is new is because of the internet, because of social media, where our newly organized group has the ability to affect change on a nationwide basis. Now we're sitting here like a big team But we got to have a coach. Somebody's got to call a play. Okay. Somebody's got to tell us, okay, we need to do this, we need to do that, and then you need to do that, and then we're going to score. Okay. Somebody's got to think about a master plan. And so that's where your institutions come into play. Institutions like OneUnited Bank, it has to have a role. It's the largest Black-owned financial institution in the country. So it designs these programs. We talked about one transaction. Check us out, man. Go to OneUnited.com. Pull, take, the point of it is that when you're thinking about a financial institution, you have to, one, recognize that you may have more than one of these things, but one of them should be OneUnited Bank. One of them should be Black. You either got to be a part of the solution or you part of the problem. And because that's what this is.
That's a stark contrast. And just to move to our next question, it's kind of in that same realm where there are a lot of people, many people who are underbanked or unbanked have joined the team of the fintech companies like Square Inc.'s, Cash App or Chime Bank. I use Chime. And then there are some people who use Venmo. A lot of these, different apps, they're offering debit cards. They'll let you do direct deposit. So in some ways, they're almost like they're not a whole replacement for a bank, but they have ingrained themselves in our communities. A lot of people use these apps and different things. And so we just wanted to ask you, it kind of seems like some people may rather use these apps and trust that rather than go to a brick and mortar bank. And so just kind of tell us how these fintech companies were able to become so popular in our community, and should people look at them as replacements for banks?
Okay, first off, OneUnited Bank is a fintech. So it's a FDI, it's more than a fintech, it's a fintech plus a bank, but it has very advanced financial technology. Virtually every program, every application you name, Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, you can use all of those with OneUnited Bank. They're not separate things. So you can have an account, your online banking account at OneUnited Bank, your debit card can be used. You can use Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, et cetera, et cetera. It's Visa recently said like OneUnited Bank is at the absolute cutting edge of its customers' utilization of those types of technology. In other words, our customers use them more than, with us, if you use Cash App, then you using Cash App. With us, you can use Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, you can use any of them and attach any of them to your bank product. So you aren't actually, and this is the thing where we as Black people, have to go here is actually our product's better, because you can use all of those applications and you're not dedicated to just one of them. And so that world is real. What you're describing is, very accurately describing the change that's taking place in society as we move toward a cashless society, and what types of products do you need in order to function. You need a product. Your bank is on your phone. That modern people aren't checking for going to some branch. Why am I going to a branch? Like, why are we doing that? Okay, my phone's right here. Okay, I want to receive the money from my side gig, whether I'm being an Uber driver or whatever I want to do. I want that going into my bank account, and then I want to share my money with my buddies. I want to pay my bill, and I want to make that all happen right here. I want to check my balance 4 times a day. I want to get my paycheck 2 days early. We do all of that. Well, we do it better than the companies you're talking about, because we have a much broader product offering. And so, so the company has great technology. It's getting better all the time. Now we're in a world, of course, where technology is changing, and there may be some app or something that comes up with one feature or another, But overall, we do all that. We are a financial technology company. We're recently chosen by Google as the top Black technology company in the country. We collaborating with them to transform our technology. So this stuff is this business thing. It's gonna be like for us as Black people, just like sports. Over time, we came to realize, oh man, we're actually better at this. or music, we looked up and like, we actually are better at music. We're actually better at business too. We never got a fair shot at it. And all the same, all the same creativity and things that go into the creation of the product. I defy you. You take our card, take our solidarity card, okay? If you can show me another card that's flyer than our solidarity card, period. I don't care who you talk about, fintech, untact, whatever. Okay, our stuff is just flyer, like way flyer. Okay, so that's what's up here. Okay, like we're not second fiddle. We're not asking you to give nobody a break. Our products are better.
That's what it's all about, Kev. I work in the insurance industry, and that's what we tell a lot of people whenever they try to bring up the Aflacs and the Allstates, and they'll just ask about the competition. We say we're not worried about the competition because we can put our products aside from there, and they're going to be better. And that's what you're advocating for, that you don't have to rely on these other apps. You can come to a bank that has people that look like you, been there where you've been. Just like we were talking about with Mr. Slayton, that's what it's about, that community, that connectivity. So that's awesome. I'm glad we're able to plug, that in here in this segment here. So we're going to take one more break here. And when we come back, we're going to come into our third segment where it's going to be all about One Bank's initiatives. Y'all are doing a lot of things this year. So we wanted to give our viewers some insight into what y'all are doing and give you a chance to talk about that. So stick with us and we'll be right back. All right, viewers, let's get back into this. We are continuing an amazing conversation with Mr. Kevin Cohee, who is the owner, chairman, and CEO of OneUnited Bank. Really, really awesome institution. We've been plugging it, and we're going to continue to plug it because it's great to have somebody in the community to bank with. In this third segment, viewers, we really wanted to talk about OneUnited's banking initiatives because, again, they are doing a lot this year to really try to bridge the gap between white and Black America. One of the things you may not realize, but there was a study done, I think by the Brookings Institute, viewers, and this was from 2020, that said the average net worth of a Black family was only about $17,000. When you compare that to a white family, it's actually $170,000. So that's that 10 times number that Kevin threw out earlier. To combat this crisis, OneUnited Bank is doing many things to rectify the wrong. One of those things being their One Transaction campaign. So, Kevin, we just wanted to ask you, about this One Transaction campaign and what United Bank is doing with it and what United Bank hopes to achieve out of this campaign.
We hope to eradicate the racial wealth gap in this country. We want to eliminate it. When we looked at it, we said, well, it is 10 times, say those numbers are right, 17 versus 170. But in today's dollars, that isn't really a huge amount of money. In fact, almost anywhere, certainly in Dallas, where you guys are, or Los Angeles, if you bought a home anywhere in the last 5 years, you would have built up over $100,000 net worth in that home. So there's no place in Los Angeles that you could have bought a home that wouldn't have increased by over 100,000. There's no place in Dallas that you could have bought a home that wouldn't have increased to over $100,000. The point being is that it's really one transaction in today's world. And what we decided is part of the challenges we face as Black Americans is is being educated and having the information on how to systematically build net worth. And so we took the 6 key transactions for building net worth, and we created a framework where we could use technology to both teach, inspire, and motivate people to complete these transactions systematically, one at a time. So that's what the goal is. So it's a campaign where people, when you sign up, we take your information and we use texts and we use emails and clever, funny, humorous, serious kind of communications to motivate you to complete the one transaction. There is this virtual conference, which we have tens of thousands of people signed up for, which is going to be a gas. It's going to have people like Damon John and Michelle Singletary, the Budgetnista. It's going to have people who are really well known in the field of financial literacy, who will be in plain talk. And that's what this is about. It's about plain talk, explaining transactions, not from the perspective of somebody trying to sell you something, but somebody who's interested in you really understanding the factors in making good decisions. All of these things become self-evident, whether it's, here again, something like the importance of having a will. I mean, that is absolutely key. If you want to create generational wealth, the wealth has to go from one generation to another. So we have like 28% of Black Americans have wills. Well, the one thing we know is, for better or worse, eventually 100% of the Black Americans that are alive are going to die. And we only 28% have wills. And so it's a simple transaction, but oftentimes it's something that's difficult to engage. And so whether it's insurance, whether it's home ownership, whether it's how to think about multifamily housing as an alternative to single family housing so that you can generate some income, or understanding how to actually buy a single family home. These things it's getting easier and easier. Access to capital is becoming more and more available to us. So whether it's owning a business, we're undergoing the biggest boom in business that there's ever been. This is like bigger than the California gold rush, and that we can call it the internet rush. The internet is giving rise to opportunities for business that never existed before. All you need to do, the internet doesn't care where you went to school, it doesn't care who you know, it just cares whether you can use it to target customers to sell them something. You don't even have to make the product, okay? And so that's gonna, yes, we lost 50%, over 50% of our businesses as a result of Black businesses as a result of COVID-19. But the opportunity is to rebuild a bigger, stronger, faster business infrastructure that's rooted in technology. And so there's going to be a boom in business development. It's creating unprecedented opportunity. The investment world, the investment world is being democratized. There's all of these new applications that allow you to buy into companies, to invest in stocks, bonds, to be able to think about speculative things like cryptocurrency. There's more investment opportunity than there's ever been, and how to utilize that. Understand the importance of things like your credit score. I mean, you can't get anywhere. Your credit score is the key to you being able to access money and other resources. How do you rebuild that? So the one transaction program is about systematically teaching Black America and its allies the transactions that you need to be able to accomplish in order to build your net worth. And this is something we're not guessing about. This is how you build your net worth. And here again, making money is one thing, building net worth is another. And so we're gonna put it where the goats can get it. Here again, old country saying, you got probably too young for that, but the idea is we're gonna make sure everybody understands how to do it. We're gonna motivate it. We're gonna try to be a coach. We're gonna try to be a coach. We got the team's organized, and now it's up to to the leadership to call the right plays so that we can accomplish goals. See, we want financial literacy to be a core value in our community. I want when you guys talk to each other, I want you saying, man, you know, what stocks you got, man? How's that working out for you? How much do you pay for your insurance? Wow, what does it cover? See, just like we talked about the latest record or who has the best jump shot, I want us talking about financial matters to each other and see, because that's the opportunity of the internet. It's to inspire not just the individual, but to inspire the whole group. You can inspire the whole team. That's what the opportunity we have now. And now that we got, like I said, we got the team, we got to call the play. And so this is us calling the play, saying, okay, let's build our network. This is how we do it. Okay, so this is us literally calling the play. Let's go. Let's make it happen.
No,
let's go.
You're absolutely right, Devin. I know you're going to ask the next question, but the only thing I was wanting to chime in real quick and say, Mr. Cohee, thank you so much for pointing out the fact that, especially in the Black community, we're so quick to talk about, you know, music and entertainment and fashion, but we never talk about stocks or insurance or anything that really matters and has lasting effects on our lives and the lives around us. So again, Devin, I know you're going to ask another question, but I just wanted to say that because I find that, you know, we are so surface level and never really, you know, getting into depth on things that really matter. So thank you for pointing it out. My bad, Devin, go ahead.
But that's where we got to go. See, that exactly what you just said. That's the key. That's where the each one teach one comes in. See, we start, this is our opportunity. We start those conversations exactly like you just said. And then somebody else says, you know what? That's absolutely right. Okay. Like, you know, I do need a home. Okay. And maybe I wouldn't mind owning a small apartment building and having 3 or 4 tenants. Now that you mentioned it, you know.
That's it. Yeah, that's exactly what we need to do is to at least start the conversation. I mean, I recently, in like the last, year, 6 months, just started getting into stocks. And I learned from a friend of mine who was into it, and he kind of showed me what he was doing. And so now we actually talk about, you know, hey, what you doing? He's into options and things like that. And so we learn from one another, and that's what we need as far as our community. But another piece, though, to what, you know, OneUnited is doing is, you know, you talked about it, what is probably the, you know, flyest debit card out there that you will ever find is the Solidarity card that OneUnited Bank is launching. And so, you know, with this card, it would allow, you know, change to be directly saved for an individual. So, of course, Mr. Cohee, you know, you got the flyest debit card on the market. So kind of tell us how it works and why is it so important, for, you know, for families to have this particular card and be able to save and build wealth?
Well, I mean, the card does see, for Black people, things like getting your paycheck 2 days early. Now, here again, for some people, it doesn't matter. And if you're in that situation where you don't need to get your money on Wednesday as opposed to getting it on Friday, God bless you. But okay, but for those who want their money, we get them their money 2 days early. So you get paid your paycheck 2 days earlier as a result of banking with OneUnited Bank. And so it has all this, it uses all the modern day applications that we just discussed. And so it looks good. I mean, it's hot. Okay. I mean, and that's part of it. But also it's tied into another campaign we're doing. Because we need our allies, the rest of America, the non-Black Americans, to not be racist. We need you to actually be anti-racist. It's not good enough for you just to be sitting there neutrally while we're getting beat down in the street, and you're a neutral. You know, like, I mean, that's not healthy. Okay? So this is this thing of what we call anti-racism. The key is to motivate people, and it's Black and white people, to take that next step, to make a conscious effort and to take deliberate actions. Like, what are you actually concrete, tangible doing? Like you guys, you're putting on the Black agenda. You out there, you making this happen. You communicating to the people. You sharing the information. You're being anti-racist. That's what you're doing. You're combating racism. You're not sitting around talking about like, oh man, that was cold-blooded when he put his knee on my neck like that. Okay, you take it a step, and it is that kind of effort that is needed by the whole country. We can't have all the white people and the brown people and the yellow people sitting there neutral while we getting the beat down, while we've been denied access to opportunity. We as a people, we as Americans, as part of the perfection of our democracy, what I mean by that is this whole business of making what we stand for true, all men and women being created equal with liberty and justice for all. To make that a reality, we need people to be anti-racist. We need them to act in solidarity, thus the solidarity card. And we wanted the symbolism to be there. We wanted the symbolism to be strong. And we wanted it something where the anti-racism coalition that we see come together and create change, bringing vigilantes to justice, bringing rogue police to justice, starting the reformation process for antiquated police departments, that whole coalition to be able to come together under an umbrella, which we call the solidarity card. So we approach it. So it's thinking about this broad social issue of political, social, and economic empowerment, doing what we can do as a people to build our own networks. We're going to do what we're going to do. We're not relying on nobody. We're going, okay? Like, we're going to call the play. We're going to go up to the line, and we get ready to run over them, okay? We're going to do this. We're going to build our networks any way it goes. Now, it'd be nice, okay, if you're not hanging us, abusing us, denying us an opportunity to do anything. That would be nice too, okay? That's us saying we want you to be anti-racist and to join that movement. So it's kind of a tie-in of getting everybody involved, of activating the movement, and that's kind of where where our great hope is right now.
That's important. I mean, I think that everyone's been talking about this kumbaya moment that's coming together, and that's what it is. It's about solidarity. It's about, if you're going to say you're an ally, put your money where your mouth is. Actually stand and act upon this. Don't, it's great that you march with us, but we need actual action. So that's awesome that you're doing that, and that's like it's really working and leading its way up to this big Juneteenth conference that y'all are putting on this year, which for Devin and I, Juneteenth is great because that's when we actually started our podcast. Our first episode, season 1, was on Juneteenth of last year. So it's great to see that y'all are doing this conference on Juneteenth. I know you talked a little bit about it, but we just wanted to make sure to give you an opportunity to really plug it, tell viewers, why they should be, signing up to join it, what they're on the lookout for. So talk a little bit about the Juneteenth conference.
Well, okay. Let me tell you a little side story. Okay, let's talk about Harriet Tubman. Mm-hmm. You'll see what I'm talking about, Harriet Tubman, in a second. When we were in the middle of the Trump administration, they decided, you know what? We're not going to put Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. We thought about it, and we decided, no. We're going to ignore the fact that this country was built on the backs of Black people since 1619, that there would be no America but for us, that we were the main perfecters of our democracy through our struggles to build rights for every oppressed group. We just going to have a currency that has no Black people on it. Mm-hmm. We thought about it. We said, okay, we know the importance of currency and the role of a people. After much thought, we're not going to pick a single Black person, like, period. No bills, no coins, no nothing. Okay. That's how we see this. And so we said, like, come on, man. And so then what we did was, engaged in a campaign that they call it creative destruction. And so what we did was we had commissioned this painting. You see, like these paintings, we have a pretty big art collection. And so we had a piece that we had done on Harriet Tubman, where what she's done for us, Harriet Tubman, we saw her as the ultimate symbol of love and Black love, because this whole business of you escape slavery, but you go back to get others. That's to us is a manifestation of love. And so we wanted to, and so, understanding the importance of heroes and heroines in our society. So we had taken her, we had this commissioned this painting where the artist came up with the idea of having her give the international sign language symbol for love. And this is just a painting we have. Now, of course, in the meantime, about 3 years later, then this movie came out called Black Panther, who took that same symbol and called it the Wakanda salute. So we said, you know what, we're gonna take our painting, we're gonna put it on a card, make it fly. And we knew what people were gonna do with it, which is, of course, they went right for it, like, hey, look, you got Harriet Tubman throwing up the Wakanda sign. We did this 3 years before there was a Black Panther or Wakanda or anything else. Okay. But we always got to believe that their ice is colder some way. They invented it, But so it ended up. It became a cultural phenomenon. It was a big deal on Twitter. They was, people, we gonna cancel you. You disrespected Harriet Tubman and blah 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 blah, and thought it was funny and everything else. And then, but we also knew that people caught it. Well, wait a minute. Well, first off, that is that's sign language. Okay, that's not Wakanda. Okay, and when you look at it, it's kind of fly. And the point being, we were able to draw national attention to Harriet Tubman. Now, the significance of that, now a year later, because this was last Black History Month, what's one of the first things the new administration does when they get into office? All of a sudden, they got this bright idea. Hey, you know what? We're going to put Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. And what we say is, part of the role of institutions and leading people playing that role is kept the issue alive. We made them know that it meant something for us. We made them know that if you don't do it, we're gonna have a real problem with that. Okay, you're not gonna like it. Okay, if you don't do it, because we already showed you what we can do. We showed you the massive amount of how we can activate Twitter, how we can get this on TMZ, how we can get this on Saturday Night Live. We can go mainstream on you, son. Okay. So now you make a decision you want to make. Okay. But what it better not be is you deciding that there aren't going to be any Black people on currency anymore. That is not an option. So I tell you, it's so funny. So you guys kill me, man. All right. So it's that kind of marketing, which is the same thing we get ready to do here. We talk about one transaction. What the goal is for a year to now, when you two cats are talking, I want it to be like, man, you know what? I'm looking into buying some real estate. I don't know if you checked any of that out, but I know over here in North Dallas, I don't know anything about Dallas. That I saw this thing, it had 4 units in it. And man, I'm thinking maybe I could live in one of those, I could sell my crib, take a little profit out of that, move into this. And all of a sudden, I got 3 extra incomes coming in above, there's this thing called Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac where I could borrow money for 3% down. And they just got this new program that came in under the Biden administration where I can put 1% down. But my point being to you is these forms of protest really do produce change in overall society. And we can make this happen. Like, just think about it. Here again, I'm repeating what what you guys were just talking about is, you start that conversation, you change the core value system, you get our allies to recognize, I'm not going to sit in this company, this big gigantic monstrosity or whatever it is, and they got no investments in any Black-owned businesses. I mean, that's not okay. Why is that okay? You whoever, Shell Oil. I mean, I'm just saying that name. I don't even know if Shell Oil is in existence, and you go to most of these companies, they have no Black people on the board, or they got one semi-Black person on the board, no Black people in the senior management, no investments in companies. See, somebody's got to have a conversation with them. Say, look, let me explain this whole thing to you about money. Money is very powerful, both in where you spend it, but also where you don't spend it. And we are human beings. We're Americans. Our blood is in the soil. We have to be respected. We have to be valued. We have to be honored and given a fair opportunity, including making up for the fact that you put us so much in a hole to start. We had to start on the other side of zero. and
the other side of zero. I don't think I've heard that one before. The other side of zero. But no, but you're exactly right. You're exactly right. And that's why I'm glad you brought up, what the other banks were doing, and more importantly, what they're not doing when it comes to, the Black community. Because our last question, we're going to take a quick break, but our last question is about what would you say, to the people who are at these traditional banks, but also to the community about what needs to change. And so we're going to take one quick break and we'll come right back. Stick with us.
Xavier was something different. It was the experience that you needed with the challenge that you wanted. It's how you leave ready.
I guess I was destined to go to Xavier.
They really do help us for the real world.
The network of Black physicians that Xavier has is tremendous.
They're not just focused on the now, they're focused on the now and the future.
25 years later, I graduated from the same pharmacy school that my father graduated from.
That's the best decision in my life I could have made.
All right, welcome back. So as always, we like to end the show with the final message for our guests to give them the opportunity to send us off and put it in a big old bowl, like Adrian likes to say. And so, Mr. Cohee, we've enjoyed speaking with you. And so our very last question for you is that, we know a lot of Americans, a lot of millennials don't have a relationship with a traditional bank, and they tend to keep money either in the freezer or they sleep on it because it's in their mattress. And we know that bigger traditional banks have been, moving their branches out of Black neighborhoods, and a lot of, even some in the past decade, have been still guilty of redlining. And so, even during the pandemic, you mentioned that we've lost a lot of Black-owned and minority businesses, and then add to that, a lot of them were not able to secure PPP loans because they didn't have a relationship with a traditional bank, because they're probably, either there aren't branches in their neighborhood or they just didn't communicate with them. And so, we wanted to ask you to leave us with, what is your message to the large and small traditional banks to get them to understand that the old way of doing business, where you stuck it to minorities with higher interest rates, or you move your branches out of their neighborhoods, explain, if you're speaking and standing in front of them, explain why the old way of doing business is going to put them at risk of probably losing an entire generation, millennials and Gen Z. And in that, the old way of doing business is holding back prosperity for all of us.
Indeed. Once again, I would say, check us out. Go to OneUnited.com, download our app. We are an example of Black excellence. Banking is the socialists used to hate banking. They were like the Russians hated the US banking system because banks are the cornerstone of capitalism. They are the key through which wealth is built. They are the facilitators of the circulation of currency. This is all about money and control of the money. And we've known, certainly since before the end of slavery, that it was key to be able to garner our economic spending power. This is the language they would use: garner our economic spending power and to rechannel it back into our community to create advantages for us as a people. Your banking decision is that important. It's the difference between, even as a Black person, are you an anti-racist or are you just sitting there? What were you doing when the proverbial foot was on the brother's neck? Was you just watching, or were you trying to do something positive? And so what we're advocating here is, look, you can have more than one bank, but one of those banks should be OneUnited Bank. We request that you join us in this mission. We can't change society without you individually. We're 100% committed to you becoming a better financial being, building your net worth, providing you with access to opportunity that wouldn't otherwise exist, trying to change America in a positive way. We're doing all of those things. We are a fintech. We utilize technology. We use artificial intelligence as part of what we do. We understand blockchain technology. We understand Bitcoin and what it means, and have the wherewithal to make that all a part of your existence. We exist for no other purpose. That's what we do. But we need members. We need people to utilize our services, to participate in our efforts in social change. And once again, we say, look, if you can find something flyer than us, then take it, okay? Because you can't, okay? We do this. This is what we do. So check us out. That's what I say. Check us out. OneUnited Bank. We're an example of Black excellence.
No, that is it right there, viewers. You have heard it here. Like I said, Mr. Kevin Cohee is convinced Devin and I that we need to be banking with OneUnited Bank, and hopefully he's convinced you as well. Because honestly, a movement takes individuals. I mean, you can't do it by yourselves. That generational wealth gap cannot be corrected by anybody else. It's just like the same thing we were talking with our HBCU series. If we leave it up to everybody else to educate us and tell the true history, they're not going to do it. So if we leave it up to somebody else to actually equip us for banking, they're not going to do it. So we are amazed and proud and awesome, for you all to be in that fight to really correct banking for Black communities. So again, viewers, you have been listening to and enjoying Mr. Kevin Cohee, who is the owner, chairman, and CEO of OneUnited Bank, largest Black-owned bank in the United States, first African-American internet bank. So we are ecstatic to have Mr. Kevin Cohee on the podcast today. So Mr. Cohee, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's right. So we're going to take our last little break, viewers. And when we come back, Devin and I are going to wrap it up as always. So stick with us. We'll be right back.